Hey there, fam. How's it going? And welcome to an episode of the Monday Motivation. How y'all doing? Y'all had a great weekend. You guys enjoyed yourself, just recharged and reset? Yeah, I hope so. I know that this word is going to be a really good one to get you charged up for the week. So let's just dive right in. Yeah? The topic for today, the motivation for today, is one that it kind of just came out of a spur of a moment. And by that, I mean, I wasn't really planning on using this one in specific. I know it's been kind of a trending theme lately where I'll have something in my brain and God's like, no, not yet, which actually helps out because then when the word that I thought I was going to talk about, when I actually do drop it, it's more refined, it's more polished because I've had time to really develop it and God just knows everything. So he plans it out that way perfectly. So it works out. So today is actually one, today's actually one that it kind of falls on the same lines. And the title, if we're going to put a title to it, is Why So Complicated, right? I don't know about you, but me, I'm the type of person, if you're trying to describe something to me, give me instructions, don't make it complicated. Don't say like, oh, and then you make a left and then make another right. And then just, hey, what's the shortest way possible? Hey, go forward, go 5 miles, make a left. And you're going to see the sign. It's very like, give me like direct things, right? Or when people like overcomplicate a situation, right? And then it causes them to stress out more. Like, why? I know we've all been there in situations, but like as you get older, you should be able to get a little better at it. Yeah. You should be able to like, all right, just be able to simplify things and not make it so complicated. And that's actually what I have in my notes is do not overcomplicate things. Do what God has called you to do and watch him do work. That's pretty much it. Like God is is a God of instructions, a God of disciplines, a God of, hey, say this, do that, do this, do that. It's very simple. He doesn't go and complicate things. And I actually have a couple examples that I have here. But before I get to those, I don't know about you, but for me, I remember growing up, like you would make, a little ant pile into like this massive mountain. And make it overcomplicated for no reason at all. Like you go and take something that could have easily taken, super quick, a few steps, and then just no. But what about this? What about that? And you like over prepare for something. I know some people don't believe in like over preparing, and I get it. Like it's always good to be prepared and be ready for any situation possible. But I know that at least in high school, I had a teacher that told me there's such thing as overstudying. When you learn something and you're cramming for a test, and I get it, we've all done it before. I'm guilty of doing that too. Like, if you don't know it day of, you're probably not going to learn it within like 10 minutes before you go into class. So like, or you've been like, let's say the test is a month from now and you've been studying, that book inside and out and you're still trying to like figure it out. No, like give yourself a break. Like, all right, take it a little piece by piece and then study for it properly. Yeah. Because if not, you're going to go and like, again, you're going to overcomplicate things. And then something that should have been a simple answer, you're going to go make this like long-winded answer. There's no point in doing that, right? Like, for example, like Moses, when he was taking the people of Israel, to the promised land, if they'd have just listened, what would have taken them about like a 2-week journey, it took them 40 years. They overcomplicated things. They try to say, oh, well, God, we should have been back there with the Egyptians. Like, at least we had this, at least we had that. And they started like complaining, but that's a whole different topic that we'll talk about later on. But they start complaining, and then God's like, all right, you don't listen? Perfect. Circles and circles. And again, what would have taken 2 weeks roughly is what, theologians say that then it took them 40 years. But that's just from disobedience. It's, again, different topic for different time. But on the topic of Moses, when he was, when he was going before Pharaoh and, they told him, like, hey, you have to go let my people go. But before that, he saw the burning bush with God. And he asked God, who do I say sent me? Right? Because he said, I have a stutter problem. So he brought his brother. There's a bunch of other things. But he had a simple question for God. Who do I say sent me? I'm not just going to show up randomly and be like, hey, let God's people go. He's like, well, who are you? Like, who sent you? And God gave a very simple answer. I am that I am. Period. Like he wasn't like, I am that I am, and then tell him this and do that, like a bunch of commas and no, long-winded. No. He said, when they ask who sent you, you say, I am that I am. It's a very direct and simple answer because it encompasses so much. He is that peace, that, that guidance, that strength, that boldness, that determination, that coverage, that protection, whatever you need at that moment. He is all that. Right. Then you go a little further down, and then he's now in a situation where he has the Red Sea in front of him and the Pharaoh's army behind him. And he's like, God, like, what do I do next? And God gave him a very simple instruction: raise your staff over the water. He didn't say, go and like build an altar. Now, if he would have said that, by all means, but he was very simple with it. He's like, raise your staff over the water. Moses had a decision to make. He could either be like, that's it. Like, that's all you want me to do. Just stick a stick out. And what's going to happen next? He just, all right. He had the faith because he knew that the God that delivered the people of the Israelites from Pharaoh, if he did that and brought, he brought the locusts, and he did so many things with Passover and just so many other miracles, and just showed who he really was. The burning bush, like the very first time, like there are so many instances where God had already shown out that Moses was like, all right, man, like he hasn't led me wrong yet, and he probably won't. So again, we know the end story. He won't, but he's living it in the moment, right? We're looking at it as history. He's looking at it like the current event that's happening at the very moment. So he's like, all right, raise your staff, bomb. This, we know the story. The Red Sea split. They walked through. Amazing. A miracle from God. We can even go further into the New Testament when Peter and the rest of the disciples are in the boat and there's a storm happening, right? And he sees what he thought was Jesus. And he's like, hey, Jesus, if that's you, command me to come. What does Jesus say? He says one word. He's like, come. Again, simple answers. He gave he had a request. He gave a simple answer. Why are we overcomplicating things? Right? Peter could have been like, well, hold on. Do you want me to first repent? Come. Right? And that's what God is, telling us every single day. Come as you are. Broken, lame, hurt, distraught, just all these things. Just come as you are. I don't need you to do anything else. Just show up. Just show up to where I'm at. And then once you invite me into your home, once you invite me into your life, I can then change everything else. I just need the first step. I need to get welcomed into your home. I need to be living inside your heart. Right. And then once, we are now Christians, and we're now, co-heirs of Christ, and we're now in the kingdom, we're now a son and daughter of Jesus Christ and, of God, we're co-heirs with Christ and a son and daughter of the living God. When that happens, then we maybe start overcomplicating things. Well, I do so many things, so I need to first repent here. I need to get my life together. No, God just say, just be here, do your part, and let me show up. Right? You show up so he can show out. And that's what I have in to finalize the notes. I put, stop trying to make it difficult and just do what God said for you to do. It's very simple, right? God's told you to do something. So just shut up, do what you got to do, and get after it. Show up so he can show out. That is if I have to, sum up this whole thing of being like, don't make it complicated. When we show up, God can show out. Period. That's it. There's no other thing. There's nothing else we have to add on to that. There's no other thing that we have to go and complicate. No. God called you to do something. If you don't know what to do next, do the last thing God told you to do. That's and I've said that in so many other, podcasts here and so many other talks. If you don't know what your next step is, that's fine. God's going to lead you to do, what the next step's going to be. But if you don't know, in the meantime, what you're doing, do that. God told you to serve in this ministry, but you're called to go and go to different nations, but he hasn't given you that green light yet. Perfect. You don't know don't overcomplicate it. Well, God, do I have to do this first? Hey, do this. Serve in the children's ministry, serve on the worship team, serve in the parking lot, serve in media. Do this first. Once this is good, and once you've knocked it out and you've really mastered this, then we can go to that next step. Don't overcomplicate it. Yeah. I'll say it one more time. When we show up and do our part, God can show out, and the miracles start to happen. The things start flowing, the blessing starts coming, and then we really see God's hand go to work, right? Very simple. Yeah. I love you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of these talks. I love y'all. I'll see you later in the week. Stay safe, and as always, make it the best day ever.